Hi everybody, and welcome in this new tutorial. In last tutorials we have learned how it is possible to move a tile, a sheet, on a two-dimensional Hex grid tile map. Now I will go a little forward on this, and I will check what happens if we have some obstacle on our path, so making some kind of impassable land. In this way we can limit the movement of a tile of a sheet in a game on a tile map. So first of all, in respect to the last tutorial, I changed the icon of the player, and I put this just this simple ship, and I have put this in a dimension 96 by 96 with 96 pixels per unit, so that I have a perfect match with the 1 by 1 unit of an X. And so I removed the old colored hexagon and put first some kind of a sprite. Then I added a directional light directly to this player, to this ship, and so that we can see in the scene that this is a yes, that this is a object that practically, as you can see, is positioned, the light is positioned just above the ship. Okay, let's go back to the 2D, and then I added a map empty game object positioned in 0, 0, and I called this map. This empty game object is just a container for all the piece of the obstacles that I wanted to add. So we can imagine that in an empty game object we can store all the hexagons of the various types that compose our map. I just put this little island-like shaped territory. What I did is to add a tag to each of these objects, these hexagons. I added the tag land. To add a tag, you can check this drop down box and make add tag. Normally are these pre-made by Unity from untagged, respawn, finish, editor only, main camera, player, game controller. I added this by clicking on add tag, clicking on the plus, and have a new tag here. We could also add something like, I don't know, mountain, for example. Just adding so all the tags that we want to recognize as different types of objects into the map. So, but in this case, I will just keep it simple. I will just add some land. Okay, so what can we do now at our script? I wanted to change the player script that I wrote last time. That was very easy. I can show to you what it does. Essentially, when we press tab, we can cycle through all the possible directions on the hexagon map, and by pressing return, we can move. Okay, this we did in the last tutorial. So, but this is a limitation, because if I go on the land with the ship, I can move freely the same. There is no stop, there is no block. So what I want is a check that make possible only the possible movement appear on a sea tile and not on a land tile. So in this case, we would only be possible to cycle from this X and this other X. So this, and this would be impossible to get. Okay, so let's do it. We can go in the scripts and I can open the player script. To start, I want to add to my last script, I want to add the map. So I will put a private reference to an array of game objects that I will call lands. I have to initialize this with all the lands available in the game, in the map. So I go on start and I search in the assets, in the active game object, all the objects that are lands. I can do this with the find by tag method of the game object. So I can do lands here equal to game object, and I will use the find game objects with the tag, so not just the first one, the only one, but an array of. Okay, and the tag that I'm searching is land, the tag that you have seen I've added to the pieces that compose the island. So essentially this will find an array. As you can see, it returns a game object array, and this is put into lands inside my private member. So now I have the lands. On the start, I have initialized. The update remain the same. I want to have the possibility to tab and move next, and on return move the player. For the move player, okay, I can just move in the position of the placeholder. Essentially, what I have to do is just to limit the position, the next position of a placeholder. Put only the placeholder in a place where there is a possible position. So a X that is not land but sea. Okay, so how can I do it? I can do in this way. I can have a possible next position that I can initialize as a candidate position. I have to check if it is good or not, my next position. I initialize it with 0, so no change. And then I want to do a search inside the possible X, the possible next candidate, so the position or where I will put the placeholder, and check if there is a passable terrain. Then I will go for it. Otherwise, I continue to cycle. When we have to check at least one time something, some set, then we use typically a do while. When we can check at the start and avoid even one step, we do a while statement. In this case, I am pretty sure that there will be, I want to make also easy, that there will be always a path in my movement in the sea, so I am not completely blocked inside land, so I can move. So there is at least one possibility. So I will use a do tab, and it builds up the snippet. So what I want to check is I want to go on this cycle until, so this while true, in this case it will be something like while my candidate pos is a good candidate. So I want to check something like is passable my candidate pos if this is false. So if I arrive here and my candidate pos that I found here is not passable, then it will continue and search for the next. If this condition is false, that means that is a passable candidate is true, so we can go in this, then it will go forward. Remember that while repeat only when the internal condition is true. So when it is true, this sentence that says that that the candidate position is not passable, then it will continue to search. Okay, so I have this. I just put this is passable as a shortcut for a possible method that should give me the result. So I can generate it by pressing Ctrl dot and generating automatically this method. So I want to call a helper method that helps me in understanding if the X is passable or not. So to start, I want first to increase my current position, because now I need a current position to check. Then I want to find my candidate position, and I can essentially it is this new position that we find. It's the next one with the current position. Okay, this is the candidate position. So we try the first possible place. We can even try this and leave this as it is, just instead of repeating this, I can just pass the candidate pos here. So I can do this. Okay. Now there is the work to do. This is the real work to do. How I check if a possible next step is doable or not. Okay, so I can cycle through all the land X, and if I find that one of these is overlapping with my candidate position, it means that my candidate position falls into a land and so is not good. So I can make advantage of a for each loop, cycling on all game object that I will, each one I will call land. Land, and I will examine this into the lands array. Okay, so okay, so I will now try to identify if let's see, the position that I have. So let's call it position to make more generic. If the position is equal to the land transform position, then it overlaps, and so we have to return immediately. Don't need to continue to cycle. return false. If we finish and we didn't find any overlapping, then we can safely return true and say, okay, it's passable. I think that this does mainly all the job. I don't think that there is much more to modify in our script. So let's give it a try. Okay, so I tab and I can still see all of the directions. You can see that it starts no more here but here, because I anticipated the current position increase of +1, but we can start from a -1 instead of 0, and so get back here. It's just a pure cosmetic choice. So now we will go here, and now I hope that there is no possibility to go east. Let's see, it starts from the other, from the next, and then goes and then jump to this. So looks like it worked. Now we'll stress it a bit more by going in a very narrow situation, and it will choose only these two possibilities. So we can literal going to the coasts of the island. As soon as we go away, we start to have free ocean again to navigate. And then we can go back in our harbor. Okay, so that's all for today. I wanted to show to you how can we put constraints in the movement on an Hex Grid map. How can we represent the physical features of a map onto our game, and how can we take advantage of the tag to understanding the possible activities that can be done toward a specific hexagon tile for our 2D games. That's all for today. If you liked this tutorial, please don't miss the chance to give us a like on the YouTube, and please follow us on our YouTube channel for having always the most updated information about new tutorials, and comment please if you like that we explore some specific areas that are of interest for your game development. So have a nice day, and ciao!